It's 9:55 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm soldering iPhone logic boards and watching reruns of The Office when the doorbell rings. My wife, Vanessa, texts from upstairs, "Don't let anyone in, especially if it's Dani." So of course I open the door. Standing on my porch is Danielle Morrison, Vanessa's supposed best friend since college, clutching her phone like it's a life preserver. Her mascara's running, her blonde hair's a mess, and she's got that wild-eyed look I've seen on customers who've dropped their phones in toilets. "Jake," she says, voice shaking, "I need your help. You do data recovery, right?" I glance at my home lab behind me, workbenches covered in circuit boards, microscopes, and enough tech to make Best Buy jealous. "Depends what you need recovered." She holds up two phones. One's hers, a cracked iPhone 14. The other's a Samsung Galaxy I don't recognize. "Deleted messages, text chains. I need to know what my husband's been hiding." My gut clenches. In 15 years of marriage to Vanessa, I've learned to read between the lines. "Your husband Evan, the insurance executive?" "That's the one." Dani steps closer, lowering her voice. "Jake, I think he's having an affair with Vanessa." The world tilts sideways. I've been a data recovery specialist for 12 years, seen every kind of digital betrayal imaginable, but hearing those words about my own wife hits different. That's impossible. Vanessa's upstairs right now." "Is she?" Dani's eyes are hard now, calculating. "Check her location." I pull out my phone, open Find My Friends. Vanessa's dot shows her at the Marriott downtown. My blood turns to ice water. "She told me she was working late," I whisper. "She told me she was having dinner with her sister." Dani pushes past me into my house. "Jake, I've suspected for months. Tonight I finally got proof, but Evan deleted everything from his phone. I need you to recover those messages." I close the door, my hands trembling. "What kind of proof?" She opens her cracked phone, shows me a photo. It's Vanessa and a tall, dark-haired man I recognize as Evan Morrison kissing in the parking garage of the Meridian building. The timestamp shows 3 hours ago. "I followed them," Dani says. "Took pictures. But when I confronted Evan, he deleted months of text conversations, said I was crazy, paranoid, but I know what I saw. My workshop suddenly feels too small, too hot. I've spent countless nights in here, rebuilding phones while Vanessa worked late. How many of those late nights were lies?" "Why come to me?" I ask, though I already know the answer. "Because you're the best data recovery tech in the city. Because you deserve to know the truth. And because—" She pauses, studying my face. "Because I think we can help each other." I look at the two phones in her hands. In my business, deleted doesn't mean gone. Text messages leave traces in backup files, metadata, system logs. If Evan and Vanessa have been communicating, I can find it. "Okay," I hear myself saying. "Let's see what they've been hiding." I lead Dani to my main workstation, a custom-built computer connected to professional phone forensics equipment. "This might take a while. And Dani, if we find what I think we're going to find, there's no going back." She nods grimly. "Good. I'm tired of being played for a fool." I connect Evan's Samsung to my extraction software. While it runs, I activate my voice assistant in stealth mode, something I learned from a private investigator client. Everything we're about to discuss will be recorded and backed up to my secure cloud storage. "Tell me everything," I say, fingers flying across the keyboard. "When did you first suspect?" 6 months ago. Evan started working late, taking mysterious calls. He'd smile at his phone like a teenager. When I asked about it, he'd get defensive, say I was being paranoid. Dani sits heavily in my spare chair. Then I noticed Vanessa acting strange too. New clothes, new perfume. She'd cancel our girls' nights always with some excuse. The extraction software chimes. "Got it. Evan's deleted messages are recovered. Let me cross-reference with Vanessa's iCloud backup. I've been married to Vanessa for 15 years. I know her Apple ID, her passwords. She's always been careless about digital security, never imagining her data recovery specialist husband might need to look. What I find makes my stomach drop. Months of deleted conversations, explicit messages, photos I wish I could unsee, meeting times, hotel reservations, lies they've told their respective spouses. But worse than the affair is what else I discover buried in the metadata. Dani, look at this. I pull up a series of texts between Vanessa and Evan from 3 months ago. They're not just having an affair, they're committing insurance fraud. The messages detail a fake injury claim Vanessa filed with Evan's company, a slip and fall at a grocery store that never happened, medical reports from a doctor who's apparently in on the scheme. The payout was $240,000, split between them. Those bastards, Dani whispers. While I'm clipping coupons and working double shifts as a nurse, he's stealing money with your wife. I keep digging, finding more evidence. Bank transfers between hidden accounts, plans to file additional fraudulent claims, GPS data showing they've been meeting for 18 months, not 6. There's more, I say, my voice hollow. Look at this conversation from last week. The messages show Vanessa and Evan discussing their spouses like inconveniences. Vanessa calls me clueless and boring. Evan calls Dani clingy and suspicious. They're planning to leave us both once they've stolen enough money. Dani's face has gone white. 18 months. I've been making excuses for him for 18 months while he's been planning to abandon me. My phone buzzes. A text from Vanessa. Working late again. Don't wait up. Love you. I show the message to Dani. She laughs bitterly. She's probably sending that from the hotel room. Probably. I save all the recovered data to encrypted drives, making multiple copies. Dani, what do you want to do with this information? She looks at me with steel in her eyes. I want them to pay. Both of them. For the lies, the betrayal, the theft. I want them to lose everything, just like they planned to do to us. I think about my daughter Kayla, 16 and away at summer camp. She adores her mother, has no idea what kind of person Vanessa really is. I think about the mortgage payments I've made while Vanessa was stealing money with her lover. I think about 15 years of marriage built on lies. Then let's make them pay, I say. But we do this smart, legal. We destroy them the right way. Dani extends her hand. Partners? I shake it. Partners. But first we need more evidence, enough to bury them both. As if on cue, my phone rings. Vanessa's calling, probably wondering why I'm not responding to her lies. I let it go to voicemail, then play it on speaker. Hey babe, just checking in. This project is taking forever. Might not be home until after midnight. Miss you. Dani and I look at each other. In the background of Vanessa's voicemail, we can hear a man's voice saying, "Room service is here." Game on, I whisper. The next morning, I'm in my workshop by 6 a.m., 3 cups of coffee deep and surrounded by printouts of evidence. Dani arrives at 7 with bagels and a determined expression. Any word from the cheaters? She asks. Vanessa came home at 2 a.m., slipped into bed like nothing happened. This morning she kissed my cheek and said she loved me. I gesture to my computer screens. While I was sitting here looking at photos of her with your husband. Dani winces. Evan told me he had an emergency board meeting. Came home smelling like expensive perfume and lies. I've been busy since our late-night discovery. Using advanced forensic software, I've extracted 18 months of digital breadcrumbs. Text message headers showing coordinated timing. Photo metadata revealing they've been meeting at the same hotel every Tuesday and Thursday. Voice assistant logs from both our homes proving they've been planning this fraud for over a year. Look at this, I say, pulling up a timeline I've constructed. Every Tuesday, Vanessa tells you she's working late on insurance cases. Every Tuesday, Evan tells you he has late meetings, but their GPS data shows them both at the Marriott from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. 18 months of Tuesdays, Dani says quietly. I actually felt sorry for him, working such long hours. The evidence is overwhelming, but it's the financial crimes that make this more than just adultery. I've traced wire transfers between multiple accounts, fake medical reports filed with Evans' insurance company, and a network of fraudulent claims worth over $500,000. They're not just cheating on us, I explain. They're stealing from Evans' own company. Look at this claim from February. The screen shows a workers' compensation claim filed by someone named Maria Santos. The medical reports are signed by the same doctor who handled Vanessa's fake injury. The payout was $180,000. Maria Santos doesn't exist, I continue. I ran her social security number. It belongs to a woman who died in 2019. They've been filing claims for dead people and splitting the money. Dani stares at the evidence. How much have they stolen? Best estimate? Close to $1 million over 2 years. And they're planning more. Look at this text from last week. I show her a message from Evan to Vanessa. New identity ready. Sarah Chen, construction accident. Dr. Martinez has the paperwork ready. Should net us $300K. They're going to keep stealing until they have enough to disappear, Dani realizes. Leave us both with nothing while they start new lives somewhere else. My phone buzzes. A text from Vanessa. Dinner with clients tonight, another late one. Order pizza for yourself. I show Dani the message, then pull up Evan's location on the family tracking app Dani shares with him. He's already at the Marriott. Want to catch them in the act? I ask. Dani's smile is predatory. Oh, I've got a better idea. An hour later, we're parked across from the Marriott in my truck, cameras ready. But instead of just taking pictures, Dani has brought spray paint and a key. Are you sure about this? I ask as she approaches Evan's BMW in the parking garage. They've been playing games with our lives, she says, popping the key into the paint on his driver's side door. Time to play back. She carves wife stealer into the paint, then spray paints fraud across his windshield. I leave a note under his wiper. Smile for the cameras. Your wife knows everything. We retreat to my truck and wait. 20 minutes later, Vanessa and Evan emerge from the hotel elevator, holding hands like teenagers. The moment they see his car, the screaming starts. I'm recording everything on my phone as Evan spins in circles, shouting about vandalism and calling hotel security. Vanessa's face has gone white as she reads my note. They know we have to get out of here, Dani says, as hotel security approaches the car. But I'm not done yet. I've been busy while Dani was redecorating Evan's BMW. Using a long-range directional microphone I borrowed from a private investigator friend, I've been recording their conversation in the parking garage. Did you tell Dani anything? Evan demands, grabbing Vanessa's arm. Nothing! But Jake's been acting strange. What if he knows about the money? The money's clean. Dr. Martinez covered our tracks. Even if they suspect the affair, they can't prove the insurance fraud. Wrong, I think, adjusting the microphone to catch every word. We need to accelerate the timeline, Evan continues. File the Sarah Chen claim this week, collect the payout, and get out of town. I've already set up accounts in the Cayman Islands. Dani grips my arm. They're planning to run. Soon. What about Jake and Dani? Vanessa asks. Evan shrugs. What about them? By the time they figure out what happened, we'll be long gone. Let them fight over the scraps. That's when I see red. 15 years of marriage, and she's planning to abandon me like garbage. But I force myself to stay calm, keep recording. Anger won't destroy them. Evidence will. Security arrives and starts questioning them about the vandalism. While they're distracted, I slip out of my truck and plant a small GPS tracker under Evan's bumper. If they're planning to run, I want to know where. Time to go, I tell Dani as we slip away unseen. Back at my workshop, I upload the recordings and add them to our growing evidence file. We now have proof of ongoing fraud, plans to flee the country, and their complete disregard for their spouses. What's our next move? Dani asks. I pull up the contact information for the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Financial Crimes Division. We're going to give them everything: bank records, wire transfers, fake medical reports, recorded confessions, all of it. Will that be enough? I smile grimly. Dani, I've just handed the FBI a complete wire fraud case with audio confessions and documented interstate transfers. Evan's going to prison, and Vanessa's going down with him. But as I'm preparing the evidence package, my computer chimes with an alert. Someone's trying to access my personal email account from an unknown device. The IP address traces back to Evan's insurance company. They're trying to hack me, I realize. They know we're onto them. Dani leans over my shoulder. Can they get in? Not a chance. But this means they're scared, and scared people make mistakes. As if summoned by my words, my phone rings. It's Vanessa. Jake, we need to talk, she says when I answer. There's something I need to tell you. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Meet me at Rosario's in an hour. Come alone. She hangs up before I can respond. Dani and I look at each other. It's a trap, she says. Probably, but I want to hear what she has to say. I save our evidence to multiple encrypted drives, hiding copies throughout my workshop. If something happens to me, take everything to the FBI. Nothing's going to happen to you, Dani says firmly, because I'm coming with you. She said, come alone. She's been lying to you for 18 months. Why start trusting her now? She has a point. I grab my phone, making sure the recording app is ready. Okay, but we do this carefully. I want to see what cards she's planning to play. As we head to the restaurant, I can't shake the feeling that Vanessa's call means the game is about to change. They know we're onto them, which makes them dangerous, but it also means they're running out of options. Time to see how far they're willing to go to protect their secrets. Rosario's is a dimly lit Italian place downtown, the kind with red checkered tablecloths and wine bottles covered in candle wax. Vanessa's already there when Dani and I arrive, sitting in a corner booth with her back to the wall. She's dressed to kill in a black dress I've never seen before, probably bought with stolen money. Her face hardens when she sees Dani with me. I said come alone. And I said a lot of things over 15 years, I reply, sliding into the booth across from her. Turns out we're both liars. Dani sits beside me, her presence a reminder that I'm not facing this alone. I've got my phone recording in my jacket pocket, and Dani's doing the same. Jake, please, Vanessa says, reaching across the table. Let me explain. I pull my hand away before she can touch it. Explain what? The affair? The fraud? Or the part where you're planning to steal $300,000 more and disappear to the Cayman Islands? Her face goes white. How do you... I'm a data recovery specialist, Vanessa. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? I lean back in my chair. 18 months of deleted texts, bank transfers to offshore accounts, fake insurance claims, audio recordings of you and Evan planning to abandon us both. Should I keep going? She glances around the restaurant nervously. You don't understand. It's not what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like my wife has been stealing money and sleeping with another man while I've been working 60-hour weeks to pay our mortgage. Vanessa's composure cracks. You want to know the truth? Fine. Yes, I'm having an affair. Yes, we took some money from the insurance company. But it's because I was desperate, Jake. Our marriage has been dead for years. So you decided to commit federal crimes instead of asking for a divorce. The money was just sitting there. Evan's company approves fraudulent claims all the time. They just look the other way because it's easier than investigating. We weren't hurting anyone. Dani laughs bitterly. You weren't hurting anyone? What about us? What about the people whose premiums go up because of fraud like yours? Vanessa rounds on her. Don't lecture me about morality, Dani. Your husband came to me, remember? He's the one who suggested the whole thing. After you seduced him, Dani fires back. Ladies, I interrupt. Let's focus on the real issue here. Vanessa, you've committed wire fraud, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. That's 20 years in federal prison. Each. Vanessa's face crumples. Jake, please. I made mistakes, but we can fix this. We can give the money back, get counseling, start over. With what money? You've already spent most of it. And even if you hadn't, the FBI doesn't offer takebacks for federal crimes. The FBI? Her voice is barely a whisper. I pull out my phone and show her the email confirmation. Sent them everything 3 hours ago. Bank records, wire transfers, recorded conversations, photo evidence. They're very interested in your boyfriend's creative accounting practices. Vanessa stares at the screen like it's a death sentence. You bastard. You've destroyed everything. No, Vanessa. You destroyed everything. I just documented it. She stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This isn't over, Jake. Evan has lawyers, connections. We'll fight this. With what money? The FBI froze your accounts this afternoon, both the legitimate ones and the ones you thought were hidden. That stops her cold. What? Dani smiles sweetly. Didn't Evan mention that? When the FBI gets a wire fraud referral with this much evidence, they move fast. Asset forfeiture, account freezes, the whole 9 yards. Vanessa fumbles for her phone, probably trying to check her bank balance. Her face goes from pale to green. You can't do this. I have rights. You have the right to remain silent, I say, standing up. I'd suggest using it. Your boyfriend's probably getting the same news right about now. As if summoned by my words, Vanessa's phone rings. The caller ID shows Evan. She answers with shaking hands. What do you mean arrested? She says into the phone. When? Where are you now? I can hear Evan shouting through the speaker something about federal agents and handcuffs. Vanessa's face crumbles as the reality hits her. They arrested him at his office, she whispers, hanging up, in front of the entire board of directors. Public humiliation, Dani observes. Seems fitting. Vanessa looks at me with pure hatred. 15 years of marriage, and this is how you repay me? 15 years of marriage, and sleeping with another man is how you repaid me, I counter. Along with stealing money and planning to abandon our daughter. Kayla will never forgive you for this. Kayla will understand when she's old enough to know the truth. That her mother chose crime and adultery over her family. Vanessa grabs her purse, her hands shaking. This isn't over, Jake. I'll make you pay for this. No, Vanessa. You'll be too busy making license plates. She storms out of the restaurant, leaving Dani and me alone at the table. The other diners are staring, but I don't care. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. How long before they arrest her? Dani asks. FBI said within 24 hours. They want to coordinate with local law enforcement, make sure she doesn't run. Dani nods, then looks at me seriously. Jake, are you okay? I know this can't be easy, even after everything she's done. I think about that question. Am I okay? My wife of 15 years is about to be arrested for federal crimes. My marriage is over. My daughter's going to learn that her mother is a criminal. But strangely, I feel better than I have in months. I'm okay, I realize. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually okay. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You have no idea what you've started. This isn't over. I show it to Dani. Evan? Has to be. He's probably out on bail already. I screenshot the message and forward it to the FBI agent handling our case. Let him threaten me. It just gives them more evidence. As we leave the restaurant, I spot a familiar figure across the street. Evan Morrison, standing in the shadows between two buildings, watching us. Even from a distance, I can see the rage in his posture. He's following us, Dani whispers. Good. Let him. The FBI has him under surveillance now. If he tries anything stupid, he'll just make things worse for himself. But as we walk to my truck, I can feel Evan's eyes on us like a physical weight. This isn't over, not by a long shot. The real confrontation is still coming. The next morning brings news that Evan Morrison has been released on $1 million bond posted by his wealthy family. It also brings something else. A subpoena for me to testify before a federal grand jury investigating insurance fraud at Morrison's company. This is bigger than just Vanessa and Evan, I tell Dani as we sit in my kitchen, reading through the legal documents. The FBI thinks there's a whole network of fraudulent claims. Dani pours herself more coffee, her hands steady now that we're taking action. How many people are we talking about? According to this, potentially dozens of fake claimants over the past 5 years. Evan wasn't just stealing with my wife. He was running an entire operation. My phone rings. The caller ID shows Morrison Insurance Group. Mr. Carter? The voice is professional, female. This is Rebecca Walsh, head of legal at Morrison Insurance. We need to schedule a meeting immediately. About what? About the serious allegations you've made against our company and Mr. Morrison. We're prepared to offer you a substantial settlement in exchange for your silence. I put the phone on speaker so Dani can hear. How substantial? $500,000. Cash. All you have to do is sign a non-disclosure agreement and withdraw your complaint to the FBI. Dani's eyes widen. $500,000 would change everything for me. Pay off the mortgage, secure Kayla's college fund, give me a fresh start. I'll need to think about it, I say. You have 24 hours, Mr. Carter. After that, the offer expires. She hangs up. Dani and I look at each other. They're scared, she says. Really scared. $500,000 scared. I lean back in my chair. That's a lot of money, Dani. It's also blood money. They're trying to buy your silence so they can keep stealing. She's right, but I'd be lying if I said the money wasn't tempting. Kayla's college fund is practically empty. The mortgage payments have been killing me. $500,000 would solve every financial problem I have. But then I think about all the legitimate claims Morrison Insurance has probably denied while paying out fake ones. People who really were injured, really needed help, denied coverage so Evan and his network could steal millions. No deal, I say finally. We're seeing this through. Dani smiles. I was hoping you'd say that. My phone buzzes with a text from Vanessa. Jake, please call me. We need to talk about Kayla. Our daughter. In all the chaos, I've been dreading this conversation. Kayla's at summer camp for another week, but she'll need to know what's happening before she comes home to find her mother in federal custody. I have to call her, I tell Dani. Kayla deserves to hear this from me. The call to camp takes 20 minutes to arrange. When Kayla finally comes to the phone, she sounds happy and carefree. It breaks my heart to know I'm about to change that. Dad, camp is amazing. I learned to kayak and made friendship bracelets and… Kayla, sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something serious. The excitement drains from her voice. What's wrong? Is Mom okay? How do you tell your 16-year-old daughter that her mother is a criminal? That everything she believed about her family was a lie? Your mom is in some legal trouble, I say carefully. She made some bad choices, and now she has to face the consequences. What kind of legal trouble? I take a deep breath. She's been stealing money from an insurance company, with a man she's been having an affair with. Silence. Long, painful silence. Kayla, are you there? She's cheating on you? Her voice is small, broken. Yes, sweetheart, for over a year. And stealing money? Yes. More silence. Then, is she going to jail? Probably. I'm sorry, Kayla. I'm so sorry you have to hear this. I can hear her crying now, soft sobs that tear at my heart. Can I come home? Of course. I'll pick you up tomorrow. Dad, are you okay? The question catches me off guard. Here I am, destroying her world, and she's worried about me. I'm going to be fine, sweetheart. We're going to be fine. After I hang up, Dani puts her hand on my shoulder. That was the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. I hope so. I never want to break her heart like that again. My phone rings again. This time, it's Agent Sarah Martinez from the FBI. Mr. Carter, we need you to come in immediately. There's been a development. What kind of development? Vanessa Morrison, sorry, Vanessa Carter, has been arrested. But before we took her into custody, she made some interesting claims about you. My blood runs cold. What kind of claims? She says you've been blackmailing her, that you hacked into her private accounts and threatened to expose fabricated evidence unless she paid you money. I look at Dani, who's gone pale. That's completely false. I believe you, Mr. Carter, but we need to get your side on the record immediately. Can you be here in an hour? On my way. As we drive to the FBI field office, Dani's quiet. Finally, she speaks. She's trying to flip the script, make you the villain. It won't work. We have too much evidence. Evidence she's going to claim is fabricated. She has a point. Vanessa's desperate, facing 20 years in federal prison. She'll say anything to save herself. But when we arrive at the FBI office, Agent Martinez has news that changes everything. We've been monitoring Evan Morrison's communications since his arrest, she says, leading us to an interview room. This morning, he called his lawyer and said something very interesting. She plays an audio recording. Evan's voice, stressed and angry. The husband knows everything, all of it. The fake claims, the offshore accounts, even the Sarah Chen identity we were planning to use. Someone's been feeding him information from inside the company. Agent Martinez stops the recording. Mr. Carter, do you have any inside sources at Morrison Insurance? No. Everything I found came from phone recovery and public records. Then how did you know about Sarah Chen? That identity was created last week, and the paperwork hasn't been filed yet. I think back to the evidence I recovered. It was in a text message between Vanessa and Evan. They were discussing the timing. We've examined those text messages. There's no mention of Sarah Chen. My mind races. If the Sarah Chen information wasn't in the texts, how did I know about it? Then I remember. The directional microphone recording in the hotel parking garage. I recorded them talking, I say, in the parking garage after we vandalized Evan's car. Agent Martinez nods. That explains it. But here's the interesting part. Evan thinks you have an inside source, which means there really is someone inside Morrison Insurance feeding information to someone. But not to me. No, to someone else. Someone who's been investigating Morrison Insurance for months, maybe years. Mr. Carter, I think you stumbled into the middle of a much larger investigation. The pieces start clicking into place, the ease with which I found evidence, the way everything was perfectly preserved in backup files, the timing of Dani's visit to my house. I look at Dani, really look at her for the first time. You knew, didn't you? Before you came to my house, you already knew about the affair. Dani meets my eyes steadily. Yes. How long? 6 months. I hired a private investigator, gathered evidence, built a case, but I needed someone with technical skills to recover the digital evidence, someone with legitimate access to Vanessa's accounts. So you used me. I saved you, she corrects, from a wife who was planning to abandon you and a conspiracy that would have destroyed your life. Yes, I had ulterior motives. But everything we found was real, Jake. Everything they did was real. Agent Martinez watches our exchange with interest. Ms. Morrison, are you willing to testify about your investigation? Absolutely. I have months of surveillance photos, financial records, and recorded conversations. Evan and Vanessa aren't just small-time fraudsters. They're part of a network that's stolen millions from legitimate claimants. I should be angry that Dani manipulated me. But looking at the evidence spread across Agent Martinez's desk, I realized something. She didn't just save me from Vanessa's betrayal. She saved me from becoming an unwitting accomplice to federal crimes. What happens now? I ask. Agent Martinez smiles. Now we finish what you started. Morrison Insurance is going down, and everyone involved is going to prison for a very long time. As we leave the FBI office, I have one question for Dani. Was any of it real? The partnership? The alliance? Us? She stops walking and looks at me. The investigation was planned. Everything else, the way I feel about you, the connection we've built, the future I want us to have, that's all real, Jake. That's the part I never saw coming. I believe her. More importantly, I realize I don't care about her original motives. She gave me the truth when no one else would. She stood by me when my world fell apart. That's worth more than any apology. The Morrison insurance scandal breaks on every major news network simultaneously. By 6 p.m., Evan's arrest photo is on the front page of every newspaper in the state, and Vanessa's mugshot is trending on social media. I'm watching the coverage from my living room when Kayla walks through the front door, her camp duffel bag slung over her shoulder. She looks older than when she left 2 weeks ago, like the weight of adult knowledge has settled on her shoulders. "Dad," she says simply, and I wrap her in the biggest hug of my life. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry you have to go through this." She pulls back and looks at me seriously. "Is it true? Everything they're saying on the news?" The TV is showing footage of FBI agents carrying boxes of evidence out of Morrison Insurance. The headline reads, "Insurance executive and accomplice charged in million-dollar fraud scheme." Yes, it's all true. Kayla nods slowly. "Where is she now?" "Federal Detention Center. Her bail hearing is tomorrow." "Are you going?" "No. My lawyer says it's better if I stay away." Kayla sits heavily on the couch, staring at the TV. "My friends are going to see this. Everyone at school is going to know." "I know. If you want to change schools, we can make that happen." She shakes her head. "No, I'm not running away from this. Mom made her choices. I'm not going to be ashamed of who I am because of what she did." My daughter's strength amazes me. At 16, she's handling this crisis with more grace than most adults would. "There's something else," I tell her. "Dani and we've been working together on this. And we've become close." Kayla studies my face. "How close?" "Close enough that I want you to meet her properly, as more than just Mom's friend." "Is she the reason Mom and Dad are getting divorced?" "No. Mom's choices are the reason we're getting divorced. Dani just helped me discover the truth." Kayla considers this. "I want to meet her, the real her, not the person Mom thought she was." That evening, the three of us have dinner at a quiet restaurant across town. Kayla grills Dani with the intensity of a federal prosecutor, asking pointed questions about her investigation, her motives, and her intentions toward me. Dani answers every question honestly, holding nothing back. She explains how she suspected the affair, hired a private investigator, and realized the scope of the financial crimes. She admits to manipulating the situation to get my help, but emphasizes that everything we found was real. "So, you used my dad," Kayla says bluntly. "Yes, but I also protected him from becoming a victim of your mother's crimes. If Vanessa had succeeded in stealing that final $300,000 and disappearing, your father would have been left with nothing. No savings, no assets, and possibly facing criminal charges as an unwitting accomplice." Kayla absorbs this. "And now?" "Now your father is going to receive a substantial reward from the FBI for exposing the fraud, plus restitution from the recovered stolen funds. Financially, you'll both be better off than you were before." It's true. Agent Martinez called this afternoon to explain that as the primary whistleblower in a major federal case, I'm entitled to a percentage of the recovered funds. Preliminary estimates suggest it could be over $200,000. "What about Mom?" Kayla asks. Dani and I exchange glances. "She's going to prison, sweetheart," I say gently. "Probably for a long time." Kayla nods, her expression sad but resolute. "Good. What she did was wrong, and she should face the consequences." The next morning brings news that Vanessa's bail has been denied. The judge ruled that she's a flight risk, given the evidence of offshore accounts and plans to flee the country. She'll remain in federal custody until trial. It also brings an unexpected visitor, Evan Morrison, standing on my front porch at 7 a.m. He looks terrible. His expensive suit is wrinkled, his hair disheveled, his eyes bloodshot. The confident insurance executive is gone, replaced by a desperate man facing 20 years in federal prison. "We need to talk," he says when I open the door. "No, we don't." I start to close the door, but he puts his foot in the gap. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." Against my better judgment, I let him in. Dani's in the kitchen making coffee, and she tenses when she sees her husband. "Evan," she says coldly, "you're not supposed to be here. Your bail conditions prohibit contact with witnesses." "I'm not here to intimidate anyone. I'm here to make a deal." I cross my arms. "What kind of deal?" "I'll plead guilty to everything. Fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, all of it. I'll cooperate with the FBI, give them every detail about the network. In exchange, I want you to ask for leniency for Vanessa." "Why would I do that?" "Because she's Kayla's mother. Because sending her to prison for 20 years won't undo what happened. Because maybe, somewhere deep down, you still care about the woman you married." I study his face, looking for the angle. "What's really going on here, Evan?" His composure cracks. "She's falling apart in there. Federal detention is killing her. She's talking about suicide, about how she can't face 20 years in prison. I'm afraid she's going to do something stupid." "That's not my problem. It's Kayla's problem. How do you think she'll feel if her mother kills herself in prison?" The words hit like a punch to the gut. I hadn't considered that possibility, but knowing Vanessa's dramatic tendencies, it's not out of the question. "Even if I wanted to help," I say, "what could I do? I'm not the prosecutor." Victim impact statement. You could ask for a reduced sentence, emphasize rehabilitation over punishment. It might make the difference between 20 years and 10. Dani steps forward. "Jake, don't let him manipulate you. Vanessa made her choices. She doesn't deserve your mercy." "Maybe not," I admit. "But Kayla deserves to have a mother who's alive, even if she's in prison." Evan sees the opening. "I'll give the FBI everything. Names, dates, bank accounts, the whole network. There are dozens of people involved in this fraud ring. I'll hand them over on a silver platter." "In exchange for what? A reduced sentence for yourself?" "I'm going to prison either way, but maybe I can keep the woman I love from destroying herself." There's something in his voice that gives me pause. Despite everything he's done, despite the lies and betrayal, Evan Morrison genuinely loves my wife. In a twisted way, I almost respect that. "I'll think about it," I say finally. Evan nods gratefully. That's all I can ask. After he leaves, Dani confronts me. "You're not seriously considering this, are you?" "I'm considering what's best for Kayla. If her mother commits suicide in prison, she'll carry that guilt for the rest of her life. And if Vanessa gets a reduced sentence and gets out in 10 years instead of 20, what then? Then she'll be 50 years old, with a federal conviction and no career prospects. She'll have lost everything that mattered to her." Dani shakes her head. "You're too good for your own good, Jake Carter." Maybe she's right. But as I watch the news coverage of Vanessa being led into court in handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit, I can't help thinking about the woman I married 15 years ago. The woman who laughed at my jokes and held my hand during movies and cried when Kayla took her first steps. That woman is gone, replaced by a criminal and an adulteress. But somewhere in federal detention, she's also a broken human being facing the destruction of her entire life. I don't know if she deserves mercy, but I know Kayla deserves a father who tried to save her mother's life, even after everything that's happened. The question is, am I strong enough to show mercy to the woman who betrayed me? 3 months later, the Morrison insurance fraud trial begins with media attention that rivals a celebrity scandal. The courthouse steps are packed with reporters, and the prosecution's evidence fills 17 boxes. I'm sitting in the witness gallery with Dani and Kayla, watching as Evan Morrison takes the stand as the government's star witness. True to his word, he's cooperating fully, naming dozens of co-conspirators in a fraud network that spans 5 states. Vanessa sits at the defense table in a gray suit, looking thin and defeated. She's lost 20 pounds in federal detention, and her once-perfect hair hangs limp around her shoulders. She hasn't looked at me once since the trial began. The defendant, Vanessa Carter, was my primary accomplice in the fraudulent claims scheme, Evan testifies. She provided false identities, forged medical reports, and helped launder the proceeds through offshore accounts. In the courtroom, Vanessa's young public defender objects repeatedly, but is overruled. The evidence, texts, photos, financial records, is overwhelming and undisputed. As the digital forensics expert, I testify to its authenticity, detailing the recovery process. When asked about my emotions upon discovering my wife's fraud and betrayal, I reply, betrayed, angry, but mostly sad. Kayla confides she visited her mother in detention. Vanessa feels no real remorse, only regret for getting caught, and vows future revenge, calling me weak. This ends any sympathy. In my victim impact statement, I request the maximum sentence for justice, not revenge. Vanessa gets 18 years, her accomplice, 25. As she's led away in hatred, I declare, this is over. 6 months later, Dani and I marry in our backyard. Kayla thrives, my forensics business booms, and a whistleblower reward secures our future. Truth prevailed, rebuilding our lives on honesty and strength. 100 words.